Question 7, final exam review, quiz part 1. So below we have a graph and we need to move it, right? And we're given some instructions, or we're given a new function. What we want to remember here is there's sort of an inside and outside of the function. Anything that's sort of plugged into x, so you get this, right? The function really is x squared. Anything inside here is going to affect the x. And think of it, you're going into the function. It's like going into the looking glass. When you look in the mirror in the morning, everything is backwards. That's the way I remember this. So as we go into the function, into the looking glass, what we see here is going to be backwards. So it's x plus 5. But what that does is it moves it 5 units. It's a translation. It moves it in the negative direction. So that's going to take this, and we want to follow order of operations. Let me say it that way. So we want to come inside the x, inside the parentheses first. But what's going to happen is this is going to move over. I should do red. Red will be better. That we want to move this over 5 in the negative direction because we're doing the opposite. We're inside. Inside, it's going to affect the x, and it will always be the opposite. Outside the parentheses, so that's anything out here in the world, maybe something outside the parentheses, that's going to affect the y. And when you're out in the open, you get what you see. What you see is what you get, right? You see exactly what's going to happen. This is saying go down 1, subtract 1, so we're going to come down 1, and it's going to get moved over here, and everything goes with it. So over to the left 5 and then down 1. And so to do that, I just get my little tool and say, hey, let me just drag this over to negative 5 and then down 1. It's exactly where it needs to be. Okay. And I can clear all this other stuff off. But inside, move it to the left and move it in the negative direction 5. Outside, do what you see. See what you do. Negative 1, we're going to go down 1. Positive 5, we're going to go in the negative direction. 5, backwards, whatever. This is the correct one. All right. Leave it at that. Well, no, let's not leave it at that. Let's, we can always check our answers. This is always a good thing. So I'm going to put in x squared here, and we'll see that's what we're starting with, right? And maybe this is what you want to start with. You can't remember it, right? We can verify it by just graphing this thing that we're given, x plus 5 squared, the whole thing squared, just putting it in exactly as we see it, minus 1. The ups, but that's not how it's showing up. We've got to get out of the exponent and then subtract 1. And so that's going to be our red, that's going to be our blue. And so when we graph it, let's go to a zoom standard. That's about what they got here. And we see, yes, the red one is our moved one. We have our original, that looks good, and our moved one has gone the right direction. It's always good because if you forget, and you went the wrong way, you say, wait, mine's over on the wrong side. I'm supposed to be over here. Just graph it, and you will see the truth. Back 5, down 1. There we go. All right, now we're done.